Alright guys, so for this tutorial I'm going to give you a brief intro into Ruby gems, and we're going to use Selenium Webdriver. Um, so first, what are gems? Gems are basically libraries or packages of functionality that make your life easier when you're writing code. If you think of maybe we're building a website, maybe we can compare that to building a house. In order to build a house, you might need a hammer. It's a tool that helps you get the job done easier. So that's kind of what gems are to the Ruby programming language. To start, all we need to do is install it. So we're going to open up our PowerShell here, and then the command to install a gem is just gem install, and then the gem name. So gem install, and Selenium Webdriver is the name. Um, so you'll see some noise here, and it should tell you that your gem's installed. Next, we're going to open up IRB. IRB just is basically, it allows you to execute Ruby code. So to do that, you just type in IRB. So we've done that. Next, so we installed the gem Selenium Webdriver. Now we need to require it so we can actually use it. This loads it into memory, so Ruby has access to it. So if we do, the syntax for that is just require, and then in quotes, the gem name. So require Selenium-Webdriver. Returns true. So now we're gonna open a browser with it, and then we're gonna attempt to go to Google and do a Google search. So to do that, we need to open the browser. So we're gonna take a variable or create a variable named browser and set it equal to a Selenium browser instance. So Selenium, the way you do that is just browser equals, and then Selenium WebDriver. And then you do colon here. This is like module class syntax, but it's a little more advanced. You'll get into that kind of later. WebDriver. And then we're going to do .4 and the browser name. This is just Selenium syntax. So the gem, it has certain syntax that you abide by, and this is the way you open a browser with it. So .4, and then Chrome is the browser we want to use. So when we do this, we're going to get an error. The reason being is because basically in order to interact with Chrome, and for Selenium to interact with Chrome, you have to have a Chrome driver installed that basically bridges this connection between Ruby and the browser. That's a high level. You don't really need to know much other than you need to install it. So when you run this command, you're going to get an error. Don't panic. And the error should have a web address down here to tell you where to download it from. So if you just copy this wiki here, and then open up Google Chrome and go to that website. Now you can go to this view all Chrome driver downloads. And then we just want to get the latest release, so we'll just click on that. And then this gives us the different Chrome drivers. For Linux, Mac, and Windows, we want the Windows one. So click that. And then that downloads it, so we can just go ahead and say show in folder. And we need to extract it because it's a zip file. So we'll do extract. We just put it right here. Alright, so we extracted it. Now we need to actually add it to our Ruby path. So we installed Ruby on our computer the last tutorial. So now we need to put this inside of the Ruby bin directory so Ruby can see it. So if we go over here, and if you followed my previous tutorial, I installed Ruby, just the default installs it on your C path. So if you just go to your local disk, you should see a Ruby here. Go ahead and open that. And then your bin folder. So this is where you're going to put like your executables like this Chrome driver. So if you go ahead and open that up, and then we can drag over the Chrome driver and just drop it in there. Cool. So that's all you need to do there. Now you can close out of these guys. Then we'll go ahead and open up PowerShell again. And I'm going to move this over so you can actually see. Whoops, I don't want it to be full screen. Oh man, I'm failing. So we'll just scoot it over a little bit. Alright, cool. So now we can actually run that command again. So if you just hit up, it should go to your previous command. And this should actually work this time. It should open a Chrome browser. And it did. Awesome. So now we have our Chrome browser open. So what do we want to do? We want to go to a website. In this case, we're going to go to Google. So the Selenium syntax for that is we have that browser variable that we just created here. So we want to use that, and we're going to call another method on it. So browser dot, I believe for Selenium to go to a website, you use the get method. So it's get, and it takes a parameter. A parameter is just like an option that's passed in that's used within the method. So in this case, get, we want to send in the web address. That's how Selenium has the syntax set up. So you do space, and then the web address. So in this case, https://www.google.com. So this is saying, hey, that browser that we just opened, go to Google. So if we run that, we should see on the left it's going to go to Google. Awesome. So now we're on Google. So what can we do? There's all kinds of stuff you can do. But first, we need to, for this tutorial, we're going to want to fill in this and do a search. So we need to do two things. We need to figure out how we can latch onto this. With Selenium, or with HTML in general, which is the web, or is the code for websites, or like the DOM or the display here, you can open it up and inspect it. So if you right click, you can do inspect, and that's going to open Google Chrome Developer Tools. And then you can click this guy here to just make it go to the bottom, just because it's a little easier to see things. We'll do that. Now, if you click this guy, you can highlight different fields, and then you can see the code behind them. So in this case, this is a HTML input element, which is just a form field, and it has different attributes on it. There's class, ID, all kinds of different stuff. But for Selenium, we're going to use, you can use class, you can use ID, you can use all kinds of things to latch onto elements, but we're going to use the ID here. So we're just going to go ahead and double click that and copy it. And then go back over to our PowerShell window here. Hit enter if you get random cache errors. So now we have our browser variable we created, and we just use that to go to the website. So now we're going to use it to fill in that field there. So the syntax for that is browser, and then find element. So we want to find this element on the page. So find element, and that's going to take a parameter here. So we're finding the element by this ID here. So we can do ID colon, and then we want to paste in the value here. So this first IB dash IB. So in parentheses or quotes, we want to do first dash IB. Close quote, close our parentheses, and then so that's going to actually find this element. Now we want to actually input keys into it. So we want to type something into it. We want to send it keys. So the method within Selenium is called send keys. So you do .send keys, and it takes another parameter, which you can do parameters. I've done it both ways now. You can do it with parentheses right next to the method, and then whatever you want to type. So we'll do Ruby is what we want to search for. Or you could do it this way. You could get rid of that, but then you need to add a space in between the methods. So you can send parameters either way. But anyway, so we want to send it the keys Ruby because it's what we want to type in the field. So if we hit enter here, we should see it's going to type Ruby over there, or Ruby right here. No such element. So that means I must have typed in the ID wrong. So let's look at what I typed here. So first, I wonder if that's an L instead of a 1. I bet you that's an L. So I typed in, but basically if you look at this error, this is helpful. It says it could not find the element with the selector ID, or method ID in the selector of this. So that's because I typed in the wrong thing. So if we hit L here instead, I bet you it works this time. And it did. So we see Ruby over here. Now we want to actually search. So to do that, we're gonna find the element, the search button element. And the way we do that again is we click this and highlight it and look at the code behind it. So there's different attributes on here. Value, name. So name's a good way to latch on the thing. So we'll just use name in this case. So let's go ahead and copy it. Come over here. We're going to use our browser variable again, and we're going to do actually the same exact thing. We're going to do find element, and then instead of ID, we're using name this time. So we'll give it name in this value, like that, and then instead of send keys, we're going to do click. So because we don't want to type keys to the button, we want to click it. So if we do browser find element, and then instead of ID, we're doing name this time. So name, and then is equal to this btnk. So I copied it. So let's put that in quotes. And then .click is the method to click a button. So click. And that should actually click the button and do the search. Voila. So yeah, that's it. This is just a very entry level to Selenium WebDriver. You can fill in forms and hit buttons. You can grab different values on the page. There's all kinds of cool stuff you can do with it. So I'll probably in the future go use it more and dive more into it. But for now, I just kind of want to do short intro explanations to different gems that are used pretty commonly in the industry. So if this was helpful, please like and subscribe. Thanks.